There's something Children of the Stones about Cerne Abbas. It's like a mix between Godalming and Corfe Castle, and with sort of tints of Summerisle. I've just been here to see the giant, the wonderful giant of no, and his very large penis. And it was quite funny for about 5 minutes to see the children giggling about the big Willy at the viewing area. But when I was sort of working, or trying to work on a piece, the first piece, which you won't see, or I might post to Instagram, and you won't be the art for this podcast, which will be the paint stick version. Probably, surprisingly, it was the last first piece I did. So I might do the second watercolour, which is very good as well. And if you want to check out any of my other work, go to my Instagram account, which is Fingertrouble, Fingertrouble. So I'm currently wandering to the Justine's Well, but I don't know, I hope it's not too far, because I'm feeling it's quite a long way. Because I was going to have a look at the remains of the abbey until I realised that it's private, and although you can go into it, they want £2.50, and it's like, yes, not for like 20 minutes, thank you. Because I'm just waiting for the bus to arrive, but I don't know where this well is. I think I might have lost the well, unless it's this thing here, which it could be. I don't know. But yes, so I did 3 pieces of the giant, but what I did is actually, rather than stay at it got rather wearing, all of the out of control children. I get feral children all the time. Dragonflies. I think it's dragonflies, or it's I hope it's a dragonfly. Yes, it's dragonfly. When you see very big things sort of flying around like that, you have to make sure they're not Asian hornets. I have seen those up on Box Hill in Dorking. But yeah, I get that at the campsite. So I'm like, when I'm out and about, I just have no tolerance for stupid, dumb, fat children, to be brutally honest. And there's quite a few of them. There's quite a few sort of kiddies sort of pissing around and being annoying. I wonder if it's down here then. But yeah, it is a thing. So I actually walked up towards I think it's Weymouth Coppice. Oh, here it is. I think this is it. Whoever believes in me. And this is a clear bottle. I wouldn't drink it, although I've got my filter thing. Was that Fishki? I don't know. But yeah, I think that's a well. Oh, they've been tying things to the tree. You see, there's touches like that. I know that's not a specifically. It's not a specifically pagan thing, but it's like there was a doorknob on the old Bell Inn, which obviously apparently there used to be 12 pubs in Cerne Abbas, and double the population for the dissolution of the monastery. And one of the old ex had exactly that, almost exactly that same door sort of image you guys had on Wicker Man, the sun god type image. It was like, Oh, the other one is obviously the village in Hot Fuzz. Yeah, there's elements of that about there. It's nice and tranquil, this well, as well should be. Wells were places of worship for pagans, and then the Christians. I think it's called St. Justine's Well. It wouldn't have been called St. Justine's Well back in the day. But yeah, well offerings. So there's a well offerings basically, but tied to a tree. Interesting. Very interesting. And one of them looks a lot like Oh, it's a spoon. Interesting. There's some of them are angels, so that's very Christian. Yeah. So if you don't hear from me again, you know that I've been turned to a block of stone or burnt in a wicker man or something. But yeah, I think the paint stick piece is the best of the day, and I did that right at the end, using a technique where I let one layer, a contrasting layer, dry, then I go over again with another one and then I scrape into it, revealing the first layer. That kind of worked, except my scrape drawing isn't as exact as I like, so I went over with white and then sort of firmed it up. But it's interesting, adding green and pink together, do you actually get the... If I'd known that right in my watercolour, I kind of did towards the end. But I'm really struggling with this sort of soft green, brown, sort of dried grass colour, sort of dehydrated grass colour. And I've worked out that if you mix cobalt violet and yellow ochre, it kind of approximates it. But also, interestingly, green, because green and pink or sort of pinky colours like the cobalt violet actually EMSR actually has the same effect, because if you mix tertiary mixing, if you mix the opposite colour in of two secondaries, you get a dulled down version, which is called tertiary. And tertiary mixing is not taught in schools because your art education was shit. I'm sorry, your art education was shit. And I mean, if you were taught tertiary mixing, then wonderful, but I was not. I was taught primaries and secondaries. But it is vital, because if you mix two bright colours together, you actually get a dull down pastel. And for those dull down pastel-y sort of distant greens and whatever distant colours, you either do that with using less colour and sort of going to white, which doesn't always work. It might work if it was misty, but it doesn't work for like smog or heat haze or whatever. Doesn't really work for other things. Or the other option is you use quite strong colour and then you mix the opposite secondaries together and get a opposite colour. Right. You get a pastel colour. So distracted by Cupid, man. You get a sort of a grey, or a version of a grey, a sort of tint of a grey. So it is a good way of getting, but things that greys have bits of colours of the original colours in, so it's not like, at school they would have taught you how to get a grey, you mix black and white together, which doesn't work with watercolour, because you're going against the white or the colour of the page, tinting it down. So you can't do that. Well, you can, but it looks a bit dull and dead. What you do is you mix tertiaries and mix your own blacks, because then they have elements of colours of everything, which what black is. Or you mix your own tertiary colours for greys and whatever. And so, one classic way that I mix greys is cerulean blue plus yellow ochre, and that gets a very sort of nice sort of steely blue grey colour. I was using that a lot today for the sort of there was lots of wheat stalks, and that's a combination of purples, the greys, pinks surprisingly, yellows. But like a child would go, oh, it's yellow. No, it's actually lots of, not only the shadows are blue because it's yellow, the shadows are opposite of what. This is the whole music colour theory course here. quite often have the reverse colours in there because of the shadows, and then you have other colours in there. If you ever look at a wheat field, don't run through it, then you will see this. So anyway, I'm about to catch the bus. Hopefully I don't miss it. It's one of those jobbies where they've hidden the bus stop. Interestingly, put it on a speed limit sign. Sometimes don't even have a bus stop. I was on the bus, the number 30 from Durdle Door last night, and then someone got off, and the other person obviously doesn't know anything about Dorset ways because was complaining, but there isn't a sign, and there isn't a sign with a name on. And the person was like shrugged and was like, yeah, it's Dorset, that's what it does. Because Winfrith post office, there is not a stop sign at all, as I found to my most consternation. So yes, and I didn't manage to get a t-shirt. The place closed at 5, and I got here after 5. I had a feeling that might be the case. Annoying. If I'd known about the 5 limit, I would have come down here earlier, but I stopped to do that paint stick drawing. But I'll see if I can get them online. I've taken a picture of their Gmail account, and I think I've seen them online. I could have bought them earlier, but I was a bit like, well, you know, it's a bit like buying a band t-shirt and never seeing the band. No, I'm not going to wear something I've not visited. So anyway, over and out from Cerne Abbas, waiting for a bus and hoping it turns up. My luck hasn't been good on these things.